Good morning, students. After a long time, I am here in front of you, hoping you are all well. Today, I am going to discuss some important questions and answers of your English theory paper from the D.El.Ed first year syllabus. There are 10 units, and I will pick up very significant questions from each unit one by one. Then I will discuss the answers also. Okay. So let's come to the first unit. What is your first unit? First unit is issues of teaching English in the elementary level in India. Okay. Now, what are the important questions of this unit? First question, that is, state two objectives of teaching English as a second language in elementary level in West Bengal. I am repeating the question. State two objectives of teaching English as a second language in elementary level in West Bengal. Now, what would be the answer? You can start the answer like this, what I am saying now. The two objectives of teaching English as a second language at the primary level are, okay, I am repeating again. You can start like this, like the two objectives of teaching English as a second language at the primary level are, now you are making 2 points. What are the 2 points? 2 points for two objectives. Okay, first point, to enable learners to understand simple situational English when spoken to. What does it mean? To enable learners. To enable learners means to create the ability among the learners, to make them able for what? Now, to understand simple situational English. Now, what is simple situational English? Simple situational English means situation where the language English is spoken very simply. Like you are in a day-to-day life conversation. You are not in an office meeting. In an office meeting, you are not in a any business meeting. You are just in a conversation where others are simply just saying. Okay, that is simple situational English. So the whole point is to create the ability among the students for what? Now for so that actually they can understand what they will be spoken to by the other persons while they are in a conversation. They can understand the language. Okay. Now come to the second point. What is second point? To enable learners to speak words, phrases, sentences, etc. for communication and interaction in an alien situation. What is alien situation? Alien means, what are the synonyms? Alien means foreigners, outsiders. Okay. The situation where you are put with some outsiders. That situation is called alien situation. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of this point? To enable learners to speak words, phrases, sentences, etc. for communication and interaction in an alien situation. That means, suppose you are in a situation where the opposite person is a foreigner or outsider. Where the opposite person is an outsider or a foreigner, and he doesn't know your language. So in that particular situation, you have to know his or her language. Otherwise, you will not be able to communicate with that person. So that means to create the ability among the students so that they can communicate. They can communicate in the opposite person's language. Okay. These are the two objectives. Now come to the second question. What is second question? Define language acquisition. Define language acquisition. What is language acquisition? What is the definition of language acquisition? Language acquisition means, the word acquisition means unconscious picking up of a language in a natural setting. Acquiring language is picking it up, that is developing ability in a language for use in natural communicative situation at home. It is called language acquisition. Okay, I am giving you just an example. You can easily understand what is language acquisition. Acquisition means, suppose a baby is born, okay, and as he is growing up, he is acquiring, or he or she is learning his or her mother tongue. How he or she can learn his mother tongue? How? He or she doesn't need to go any school, any tuition for learning the mother tongue. He just acquires it unconsciously. Unconsciously picking up. Unconsciously picking up means whatever he is listening to his parents or the other family members, he is just acquiring the language. Okay, unconsciously. And one day he will be able to speak. That is language acquisition. Now come to the third question. Third question is, what are the differences between language acquisition and language learning? Very important question. I am repeating the question. What are the differences between language acquisition and language learning? Related to the last question, language acquisition. Now, language learning. You know what is language acquisition, I just discussed. Now, what is language learning? Language learning means you are learning something. You are not acquiring something. There is a difference between acquiring and learning. What is learning? When you are learning a language, that means, suppose Spanish. Generally, we, the persons who are living in West Bengal, most of us, we don't know the Spanish, isn't it? So how we can learn, or if we want to learn this language, definitely we have to go to an institution to learn that particular language. That is learning. We have to be conscious. We have to go through some constant effort. We have to give some constant effort. We need to know the grammar, such kind of things, to learn that particular language. That is learning, not acquiring. Now, how you can differentiate the language acquisition and language learning? Just you can start the answer like this. The differences between language acquisition and language learning are, the differences between language acquisition and language learning are, first point, language acquisition always a subconscious process. Language acquisition, subconscious process. But the language learning is a conscious process. Subconscious, conscious. Language acquisition is subconscious and language learning is a conscious. Okay. Second point, language acquisition process does not require conscious and formal study of the language. I am repeating. Language acquisition process does not require conscious and formal study of the language. But language learning process requires conscious and formal study of the language. One requires conscious and formal study, and another doesn't require any conscious and formal study. Third point, language acquisition process does not require any tutored setting. Tutored setting, what does it mean? Tutored setting means a setting which is created by teacher. That is tutored setting. That is tutored setting. So language acquisition process does not require any tutored setting, but the language learning process requires a tutor setting. I think you have got the answer. Okay, now come to the next question, that is what are the meaning of ESL and EFL? What are the meaning of ESL and EFL? You can start the answer like the acronym ESL stands for English as a second language. The acronym ESL stands for English as a second language. The full form of ESL: E for English, S for second, and L for language. And you have to bring the word as. Okay. So that is actually English as a second language. ESL stands for English as a second language. And the acronym EFL stands for English as a foreign language. EFL, E for English, we have to bring the word as, then F for foreign and L for language. So English as a foreign language. Okay. You know, I think in our country English is regarded as a second language, but there are so many countries where English is regarded as a foreign language, like Japan, China and France. In those countries English is regarded as a foreign language, not as a second language. Okay, so I am making this day end here for today. And next I will be here with another unit. Till then, be well and study hard.